Hello guys, I am Flash Isaac. Today I'll be taking you through inequality questions set in Jamb. I recently released a video on inequality. You may want to go through that video. I'll share a link to that. Now, inequality can be solved the same way we solve equality or equations. If I say 2s is equals 6, this is an equation. I simply say divide both sides by 2 because we are looking for s. This becomes s is equals 3. Similarly, in inequality, if I say 2s is greater than 6, this is greater than. In inequality, this is lesser than. This is lesser than or equal to, and this is greater than or equal to. I'll divide both sides by 2. S becomes greater than 3. But this is not always the same. In equation, if I have 2s is equals 6 minus 2s is equals 6, to get s, I simply divide both sides by minus 2, right? I say this over minus 2, this over minus 2. This cancels this, s becomes equals minus 3. But this is not so in inequality. In inequality, if I have minus 2s is, let's say, greater than 6, fine, I divide both sides by minus 2 to get s. Dividing here by minus 2, dividing here by minus 2, this automatically changes this sign. So greater than becomes lesser than. So this will give you s is lesser than minus 3. So when you divide both sides or multiply both sides by a negative number in inequality, the sign inverts. Greater than becomes lesser than. Greater than or equal to becomes lesser than or equal to. Lesser than or equal to becomes greater than or equal to. Secondly, if I have s is equals minus 3, this means that minus 3 is equals s. But this is not the case in inequality. In inequality, if I have s is lesser than minus 3, if I invert, shift minus 3 will be greater than s, no longer lesser than s. So take note of those things. Now let's solve these Jamb inequality past questions. The first question says solve the inequality. Minus 6 bracket s plus 3 is lesser than or equal to 4 times s minus 5. Just like equations, the first thing we do is open up the brackets. We come here and say minus 6 times s is minus 6s plus 6 times 3 is 18 minus. So this is minus 18. It's lesser than or equal to 4 times s is 4s. 4 times minus 5 is minus 20. Now you look at it. Minus 6s, 18, 4s, minus 20. We simply collect like terms. So this one has s, this one has s. Let's bring them together. This is normal letter, no s here. So let's take them together. Doing that, this becomes minus 6s. 4s crosses the inequality sign this way. It becomes negative. Just like equations. Once a positive sign crosses the equality sign, it becomes negative. And when a negative sign crosses the equality sign, it becomes positive. So it's similar here. So this becomes minus 4s is lesser than or equals. This is already here, minus 20. Now minus 18 crosses to meet minus 20. Since it's already minus here, immediately it crosses, it becomes plus. So this will give you plus 18. Minus 6s minus 4s, this implies that we are owing 6s. You now borrowed another 6s. So this is minus 10s. Remember, this is not the same thing as 6 minus 4s. This is minus 6, not 6. 6 minus 4s is 2s, but minus 6 minus 4s is negative, negative. So you add them and put minus. That's a simple rule. This is lesser than or equals minus 20 plus 18. This is something like you are owing 20 because it's minus, plus you have 18. So if you're owing 20 and you have 18, paying 18, you still be owing 2. So this becomes minus 2. Now look at something. Minus 10s is lesser than or equals minus 2. To get s, we simply divide both sides by minus 10, right? So dividing here by minus 10 and dividing here by minus 10. Minus 10 divided by minus 10 is 1. So we are left with s here, or 1s. Now minus 2 divided by minus 10. Minus 2 divided by minus 2 is 1. Minus 10 divided by 2 is 5. So minus cancels minus. This is 1 over 5. But look at something. Since we divided both sides by a negative number or a negative value, this sign cannot be the same. It has to change, like I explained. So this becomes greater than or equal to. Then s 1 over 5. Because minus 2 over minus 10 is 1 over 5. So s is greater than or equals 1 over 5. That is the solution to this inequality. So you simply go and pick the correct option. Looking at these inequalities in the number line, you notice something. Here is not dark. Here is not dark. Here, you see, is thick. Here is thick. Here is thick. Here is thick. Here is light. When you see anything inequality that is light, let's say something like this, it means lesser than or greater than. There's no equal to. Now, if you see something like this that is thick, it means greater than or equal to, and it can also mean lesser than or equal to. Now, what makes it lesser than or greater than is direction of the arrow. If you have something like this, this is obviously going this way. It means that represents greater than. If the arrow is going this way, this simply represents lesser than. Why about this? If the arrow is going this way, it simply means greater than or equal to. And if the arrow is going this way, it simply means lesser than or equal to. Now, what's s? If I have the number line 0, 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 3, minus 1, minus 2, and minus 3, and I have something here, dark, and it's going this way, and this is s, what does that tell you? It simply means that s is greater than or equals to. You see, it's here. How about something like this? So that simply means that s is lesser than 2. Right? Now, comparing to this, okay, let's start with this. You notice this is here at minus 2, and this is here at 2. So let's take this here. So this is here at minus 3, and this is here at 2. This simply means that s is greater than or equals minus 3. It also means that s is lesser than 2. Look at it. It is at 2 here. It's not beyond. It doesn't go beyond it. So it simply means it is lesser than 2 because of this thick line. And look at this. This is minus 3. Now, anything that goes below here, it becomes lesser than. So it's not lesser than minus 3. It's still above it. It's not below it. So anything from here is greater than. And anything from here back is lesser than. So it simply implies that s is greater than or equals minus 3 because of this thick arrow. While here, s is lesser than 2 because it's not above 2. Hope you get that. So in that case, if this is true, we can combine inequalities. If s is greater than or equals minus 3, it also means that minus 3 is lesser than or equals s. Combining this and this, we are left with minus 3 is lesser than or equals s, and s is lesser than 2. So that's how we arrive at this solution. Look at the next one. This is minus 2, right? And the arrows, it starts from here, is going this way. This simply means that s is lesser than minus 2. It's thick. It's a thick line. So s is lesser than or equals minus 2. If it were here, s will be lesser than or equals minus 1. If it were going that way, it will be greater than. So that's, we arrived at this. For this second one, look at it. It's starting from 1 and it's going this way. So it simply means that s is greater than or equals 1 against this, because this is starting from 2 and it's coming this way. So this is something like this. This arrow goes this way, that arrow comes this way. So we can even combine this inequality. This will simply mean that if s is lesser than or equals minus 2, it means that minus 2 is greater than or equals s. So combining this guy and this guy, we have minus 2 is greater than or equals s, and s is greater than or equals 1. Take a look at this. This is starting from here, minus 5, and it's going this way. It means, and this thin line, or not dark, means greater than. So here is simply s is greater than minus 5. Obviously greater than, because anything coming down is becoming less. Here is coming this way, it's starting from 3. This thick line already tells us that it's either greater than or equal to, or lesser than or equal to. Since the arrow is coming in the reverse, it simply means lesser than. So here, s is lesser than or equals 3. So using that this knowledge so far to solve this guy, that simply means that minus 3 is lesser than s, and s is lesser than or equals 2, because it's not going beyond. So we can represent this thing as something like this. If you have something like this, and you have something like this. So this is starting from here. So this one simply means that s is lesser than or equals 2. This is going here. It simply means that s is greater than minus 3. If s is greater than minus 3, it simply means that minus 3 is lesser than s. Combining this guy and this guy, we are left with minus 3 is lesser than s, and s is lesser than or equals 2. So this is the answer. So take a look at number 3. It says, for what range of values of s is 1 over 2s plus 1 over 4 greater than 1 over 3s plus 1 over 2? Given this type of question, we simply collect like terms. Here is 1 over 2s minus 1 over 3s, bringing this guy here. So taking this guy there, we have 1 over 2s minus 1 over 4. The next thing we do is look for LCM. The LCM of 2 and 3 is 6. So this becomes 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 times 1 is 3. So here is 3s minus 6 divided by 3 is 2. 2 times 1 is 2. So here is 2s greater than. The LCM here is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 times 1 is 2 minus 4 divided by 4 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. Given this, 3s minus 2s is simply s over 6. 1s over 6 is greater than 2 minus 1 is 1 over 4. So in this place, you can choose to cross multiply or multiply here by 6. If you are choosing to cross multiply, you simply say s times 4. S times 4 is greater than 6 times 1. 6 times 1. S times 4 is 4s is greater than 6 times 1 is 6. Dividing both sides by 4, here by 4 and here by 4, s becomes greater than 3 over 2. 6 divided by 4 is 3 over 2. So this is the solution to this inequality. Now take a look at number 4. To solve this number 4, this is how you do it. Let me bring out the question. Minus 6 is lesser than or equals 4 minus 2s lesser than 5 minus s. Look at this. It has two inequality symbols. Anytime you come across a question like this is what you do. Here, take here and go straight to the beginning of the second inequality symbol. You write it out. Minus 6 is lesser than or equals 4 minus 2s. Now, you come again. The end of this first inequality symbol, this is the end. You draw towards the end. So you write it out. 4 minus 2s is lesser than 5 minus s. Having this and this, you solve them simultaneously. So solving this, first we collect like terms. Minus 6 minus 4 is lesser than or equals minus 2s. Minus 10 is lesser than or equals minus 2s. Dividing both sides by minus 2. Take note, since we are dividing both sides by a negative number, this sign changes. So minus 10 divided by minus 2 is 5. Here becomes greater than or equal to. Minus 2 cancels minus 2, s. So this is 5 is greater than or equals s. Now inverting, it means that s is lesser than or equals 5. For this, collecting like terms, minus 2s plus s is lesser than 5 minus 4. Minus s is lesser than 1. Dividing both sides by minus 1, s is greater than minus 1. So this is the solution to this inequality. You can choose to combine them. Combining this inequality, it simply means that if s is greater than 1, it means if s is greater than minus 1, it means that minus 1 is lesser than s. So you can come and say minus 1 is lesser than s and s is lesser than or equals 5. So that is the combined inequality. Let's look at the next question. Number 5 says, find the range of values of s for which 3s minus 7 is lesser than or equals 0 and s plus 5 is greater than 0. This is not difficult. Once we have 3s minus 7 is lesser than or equals 0, this simply means that 3s is lesser than or equals 7. 0 plus 7 is 7. This simply means that s is lesser than or equals 7 over 3. For the second inequality, it says s plus 5 is greater than 0. This implies that s is greater than minus 5. So we have this, we have this. We can choose to combine the inequalities. If s is lesser than or equals 7 over 3, it implies that 7 over 3 is greater than or equals s. And 7 over 3 greater than or equals s, and s is greater than minus 5. If s is greater than or equals is greater than minus 5, it implies that minus 5 is lesser than s. So if I'm combining this and this, I'll simply say minus 5 is lesser than s, and s is lesser than or equals 7 over 3. You can do that as well. So factorizing this, well, two numbers we can add to give us 2 and multiply to give us minus 15 is simply 3 and 5. Minus 3 plus 5 is 2, and minus 3 times 5 is minus 15. So bring it down here. So if you are still not clear about this, I will share a link to my quadratic equation videos so you go through it. So we pair this and we pair this. This becomes, what they have in common is s. So here is s plus 5, and here is simply, they have minus 3 in common to give you s plus 5 is greater than 0. And here we have s minus 3 is greater than 0. So now that we have this, we will have two solutions. The first solution is s plus 5 is greater than 0. S is greater than minus 5. Or s minus 3 is greater than 0. S is greater than 3. This last question is a quadratic inequality. And we don't need to solve that much because they've already factorized. Just like solving from this last one that we solved. If you are given the factorized method and m minus 4 is lesser than 0, this simply means m minus 3 is lesser than 0, or m minus 4 is lesser than 0. This implies that m is lesser than 3, or m is lesser than 4. That's the solution to that question. So that is it on the top questions Jamb set under inequality. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more Jamb videos across all topics. Thank you.